Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Shai, Bashem, Kodash, double winners into the elder apostles, and great most of them. Well, and shalom to the hopeful that this is Paya Allah. Title of the video will be to delve into this bit of news. Headline reads, it's from the BBC.com UK headline reads, from Taurus tax to digital ID. BBC correspondence on key bills in the King's speech. So I'm going to jump now to the point. Introduce digital ID. Alright, so this is digital ID limps on. It was once heralded a silver bullet in the battle against illegal immigration, and now as one way for employers to check the credentials of new hires. Alright, showing you that they're flip flopping in terms of what this means. Alright, the whole immigration thing was a big sell to most of the British nation. Alright, because definitely outside of London and all the major cities, you have the white English, white British, should I say, feel like immigration is a greater problem. All right, so they were banking on that to be a big selling point to make them buy into the digital ID. All right, and now as one way for employers to check their credentials of new hires. Other ways to make it sound useful. It is not compulsory and could help people who have no other official form identification like a passport or driving license, the king said in his speech. Last year, Sir Keir Starmer told me he hoped the scheme would lead the people to saving money on ID checks and when on taking on bigger financial commitments like a mortgage. Needless to say, who's gonna buy a fucking house in this economy? Oh my days! This is you read this and you see that they're talking in a vacuum, to themselves. Because I know people would react even worse than how I reacted. But that's how you know it's all just BS. All right. Last year, Sir Keir Starmer told me that he hoped the scheme would lead the people to saving money on ID checks when taking on big financial commitments like a mortgage. Needless to say, this did not go down very well with the ID verification industry, despite a distinctly lukewarm reception from the public so far. Support from the top for the digital ID has never fallen off the agenda. All right. And that's the main point. All right. What's the agenda? What the WEF, Agenda 2030. All right. What the WEF spoke about. Klaus Schwab came out and basically said, um, da, 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 what Keir Schwab said. Keir Schwab. Klaus Schwab said, um, so, agenda. So it's Agenda 2030, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all UN member states in 2015, is a global action plan designed to eradicate poverty, protect the planet, and ensure peace and prosperity for all by 2030. At its core are 17 sustainable development goals covering social, economic, and environmental. This, there you go, bingo. So look, I put in digital ID. So it says digital ID, digital identity, digital ID is a digital representation of a person used to verify their identity or attributes during online or and physical interactions. It functions as a foundational layer of digital public infrastructure, all right, DPI, to streamline access to economic and state services. All right, that DPI is going to form as the baseline, the foundation for the RFID, the MOTB, all right, that B system, which is why this has to be rolled out. It's why King Charles is basically saying it's going to happen regardless of you guys petitioning. Connection to 20, connection to Agenda 2030 under UN Sustainable Development Goal Target 16.9. The international community aims to provide legal identity for all, including birth registration, by 2030. The identity gap, roughly 800 million to 1 billion people globally lack official physical identification. Digital ID frameworks are utilized by institutions like the World Bank ID for the initiative to rapidly close the gap. Right, so basically have everyone on the system so they can basically really bring into play that B system where everyone can be accounted for and they can deal with them as they please. All right. So that's more or less the point. Let me just check something quickly. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll read that last paragraph. It says, despite a distinctly lukewarm reception from the public so far, support from the top for digital ID has never fallen off the agenda, which we know what the agenda is. Let's not forget it started life in the form of a national ID card under former Prime Minister Tony Blair in the early 2000s. So it's something they've been aiming for the longest. So let me just type this. No, man. Okay, so it isn't mentioned there, but it was a conspiracy theory. All right, so it says origin of the narrative. The enter. I hope I actually spoke about what in my head a bit. All right, so I basically checked Agenda 21. If it was tied to the national ID because they spoke about Tony Blair wanting to bring it in prior. All right, so because he's been someone that's been trying to bring it in for the longest, and I just want to see if it was under the guise of Agenda 21 as to why he wanted to bring it in. All right, but so the origin of the conspiracy theory of Agenda 21 being linked to a digital ID or national ID, should I say? Origin of the narrative, the intersection of these two concepts stems from anti-globalist narratives that merge real-world political development with UN frameworks. The technocratic control theory. Critics and conspiracy theorists often paint Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 as a blueprint for centralized one world government. Under this theory, national or digital ID schemes are viewed as tools to monitor citizens' restrict freedom of movement, and enforce compliance. Misinterpreted UN target Agenda 2030 includes sustainable development, blah, 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 blah. Some real world context. In reality, when individual countries propose national or digital ID schemes, they do so independently of the UN for localized policy reasons, for example. All right. But the reality of the situation, let me actually jump down to it. If you want to delve deeper into these areas, please let me know. Should we look closer to at Target 16 and the UN actually means by legal identity? All right. And this is because we read it and they were saying there's people that aren't documented, so we want to get them documented on paper. But but that that it's what isn't being said is what is being said. If everyone else in the world is documented on paper, all right, and the UN, United Nations, all right, have put drafted an agenda, all right, a joint um enterprise, joint enterprise is basically conspiracy, over here in the UK, but for crime, um, but that's a UK joke right there. But, really, what it is, what they're doing is making an alliance, a global alliance to make sure everyone is ID'd. But what they're saying is the people that aren't ID'd need to be ID'd because everyone else is. All right, so you just gotta read in between the lines. It's what they're not saying, is what they are saying. Are you interested in the time? So yeah, that's the point. So uh, let me read one of my favorite scriptures. This is Proverbs 6 and uh, 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh from a forward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart, he devises mischief continually. He soweth discord, therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. So this man, he basically speaks without speaking, right? Communicates without communicate. Well, with uh, in guile, all right. But guess what? That communication is gonna come to naught. It's the book of Psalm 64:7. But the Most High shall shoot at them. Let me read into it actually. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, right? Agenda 2030 is part of the secret counsel of the wicked, right? The wicked being Esau, Edom, all right, who controls the world right now. And they've all conspired with him. You go into the book of Psalms 83, it outlines everyone that's confederate with Esau, all right, for the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, all right, and that's by speaking with their feet, with their fingers, their eyes winking, and all these different things. They're basically shooting their words. They're doing it without it being said. Right now, you got this guy Chud the Builder going around. Um, he's been doing it for a couple of weeks. I've only just got up on him, but he basically an agent provocateur. He's going out there and he sees part of he's a necessary evil um, in this time that we're in because, and why I say necessary evil, because Esau's a master of disaster. All right, he's the sword in the left hand of the Most High. So him putting out agent provocateurs that are basically stir up tensions amongst the people is needed, all right, because only he has an agenda and he wants to bring so much tension, pressure from above, pressure from below, Hegelian dialectic to basically order out chaos. bring about order through chaos. All right. So this is why these things are being done. All right. They encourage themselves in evil manner. They commune of lay and snatch privily. They say, "Who shall see him?" And that's what they think. All right. But we see them, and those that are in the know see him. All right. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And all that see them shall flee away. All right. You know whose tongue ain't gonna fall upon himself? The Most High. All right. Because you've had success. All right. It says in Psalm, well, because you've had success upon success upon success, you believe that the Most High is at one with you. But he's not. He's using you accordingly. All right. Because he was upset with his people for a moment, but you forwarded the affliction. Right. So this is Isaiah 55. I'll start from 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his faults. And let him return unto the Lord Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. Right. So, hey, turn unto the Heavenly Father. Ain't no tarrying, man. Right. This is the time. Verse 8, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord Jehovah. Right, the way you think about things, the Most High don't think like that. Right, and I could see it because, you know, Kyle, Halayim, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshai, Bashem, Dash, his spirit resting upon me, and the patterns and things that I do, or, or things people would think I would do. Said there's no chance of me doing that. That's not what I do. But guess and the funny thing is, so much so that I've had many a person vouch for me in certain scenarios say he wouldn't do that. I know he wouldn't do that. One story I like to always say, my guy, this nigga in the world, I like him though, man. He's a funny. Me and him have some banter, but he basically was like trying to make me go conch. All right, basically out of town. Conch is short for country. Go out of town to make some money doing what. It's a couple. This is like 12 years ago or so, 2014, 2015 or so. He kept saying we can make. Trust me, there's money to be made. Da, 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 da. It bothered me. And then so another thing come up, and he basically was like, and someone was trying to say, nah, he would do it for money. And my man come to my defense said, nah, he wouldn't do it. I was like, bro, how you know I wouldn't do it? He said, because I've been trying to make you come country with me for the last couple months, and he don't want to come make money. So he knows my character. And these are the things that's inside the scriptures where it tells you about being to uh, those those without sin. Let's take a mm, there you go. First Timothy 3:7. It says, moreover, he must be have a good report. It talks about being a deacon, all right, and a bishop, all right. It says, moreover, he must basically be in the ministry of Yahweh Yahweh Shem, Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without. So a good report from those that are without outside of the ministry. So people look at you. There's people can vouch for you and say that, no, you're one of the good ones. From the UK, you know what I least he fall into reproach and a snare of the devil. All right. So yeah, let me go back to what I was reading to get to the point. So it's my faults and not your faults. Neither are your ways my ways, says the Lord Yahweh. So line of thought, if you're truly in the spirit, you ain't gonna move in a worldly fashion. You're gonna move a way that's beyond the realms of that. You may, and the funny thing is, you're gonna have a way to you where, because of how people think, they're gonna try and pin it to the things that they know, but they don't know that it's the spirit of the Lord, and they can't even. I've had man tell me, "Oh, you're like one of them J Cole man." I took so much offense, nigga. J Cole. I took so much offense to that. I thought, what? He's some thunderhead Negro, man. So it ain't that deep. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Yeah, man. I'm saying, it's funny because people play with you because they look at you a certain type of way, and they really don't know what type of person you are. But that's what it is, man. Really, it's the spirit of the Lord, all right, and it's Satan at the same time. Trying to create certain situations for you to show a side of you that they're not aware of. But it's you gotta be mindful. So let me read this again, verse 9. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Right, and that's what we bear witness of. We personify that as well. All right, we bear this in mind. Okay, as I said before, reason why I'm reading this is because the Most High's tongue is not going to fall upon itself. All right, and this is the reason why. Verse 10: For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not hither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth a bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return upon unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent. So yeah, man, that's the game. National ID is being moved forward, and there's nothing you can do about it. So with that, I'll pray you edify to the next one. Shalom.